All right, what's up, wrestling fans? Chris Lawrence, 420, Jake DeMarco, and if Dave Rose's mic ever fixes itself, he'll be here too. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the backstage stuff. Talking Smack, dude. Talking Smack was literally, I think, was almost better than SmackDown itself. Like that was.
It was better than SmackDown.
Holy shit, dude! So much stuff on it. I haven't even watched the whole thing yet. I've only watched some clips, and I didn't even hear the Miz thing yet, where he like freaked out on Cena, talking about Dolph Ziggler, the ex-boyfriend of Nikki, and all that shit. Yeah, dude, this was wild. That backstage stuff was great. Except for when Road Dogg said Jiminy Christmas. I feel like that he shouldn't have said that. But other than that, like I would have said like...
But that's how he talks in real life. Like he always goes ahead.
It is true.
And, tries not to swear.
It was great, though, because he was just like the let me take, everything's going to be okay guy, and Shane McMahon is pissed. So it was... Dude, Shane was great, dude. He was like friggin' throwing his shit. He was throwing a fucking hissy fit. It was awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of something really quick, Joe, that I wanted to address with you and Chris, years and years ago, you didn't know what the matches were going to be at WrestleMania. It would build up. It was more of a natural, slow burn. And we knew that AJ was going to face Shane months ago. We knew about possible opponents for The Undertaker. Like, there was no sense in fantasy booking this WrestleMania because we pretty much knew what we were getting 2-3 months out. Is it just that, loose lips sink ships and people can't keep a secret nowadays? Or do you think they leak these things intentionally? But I'm almost disappointed that we have no surprises anymore. I can't think of the last really good big surprise that we had. AJ being in the Rumble was definitely cool, but besides that, I mean, can you think of the last time we were genuinely surprised with an event or a debut or?
I mean, like Brock Lesnar being beaten quickly by Goldberg was a surprise, but yeah, debuts from other wrestlers and stuff. No,
yeah, that match was a good surprise. That's a good point. The outcome. We weren't expecting that.
I think they've actually given us
maybe the Randy Orton, maybe Brock busting up Randy Orton.
Well, we had word beforehand that it was supposed to get pretty violent, though. That's the thing, though. I feel like we either A, know the outcome, or B, know the plans.
I did not expect that. I don't know about what was reported, but I went in like shocked that happened.
Oh, I was shocked too. I'm not saying me personally, but in general, I'm just saying I really wish that we didn't know everything. I'd like to come on here and speculate instead of report more often. It's just
and that's one of those things about like what Joe and JD does. As much as I love what you guys do, sometimes that does, especially like people like Dave Meltzer and all these other fucking people. It kind of hurts it in a way, you know what I mean? Like you want to be surprised, but you can't help it as like, especially since we know so much already. We can't, almost as a fan, at least with me, I can't help it. I always tell myself, you know what? I'm not going to read the spoilers. I'm just going to, I'll watch Joe's show and the JD's, and if they report something, they don't like to report. You guys don't like to report everything, but
right.
You like to report certain hot topics. But when these places are reporting every single thing, and I tell myself, well, I'm not going to go in there and search up these things because I want to be a little bit surprised.
I got a point about that in a second, too. I got to tell you about something about that in a second. Hey, give me 1 second, guys. I continue to talk. I just got to go grab something.
Yeah, but you're right. I just miss being surprised. But even if we had to report on things, it'd be great. I'm just curious it's not even so much the fact of spoilers that I'm concerned with. It was just the fact of how does this information get out? How are people able to, you figure Vince would know, hey, listen, I mean, do they do it to generate buzz, you think? Or is it always intentional, or is it by accident? That was my question.
And it makes me laugh, too, Jake, because they have these superstars and sitting outside of the backstage or whatever, and these fans for hours upon hours upon hours without no communication to the team or the other wrestlers or anything, so they can really make it a surprise.
Yeah.
But then people they come out there and they got it's like when Diesel's going to be in the Rumble, you know what I mean? And half the signs in the crowd were Big Daddy Cool Diesel signs. So
exactly.
them keeping him in the van for that long was kind of
did
pointless.
Nothing because people saw him at the airport. Yeah, exactly. Like when Jericho returned, half the crowd signs were Y2J, and the night that I took my daughter for her birthday to Raw, Jericho was a surprise return then. We saw The Miz come back. We thought that was our surprise. But really, it was Jericho, and that was a hell of a moment, But besides that, it's, just the fact that we know the matches so far in advance, it's just disappointing. We don't really get to speculate and fantasy book and guess anymore. We just really report on, hey, this is happening, this is happening. So this whole time, what I'm trying to say is it took away from the fact of we knew that it was going to lead some way, shape, or form to AJ facing Shane. So no matter how we got there, we knew that was going to be the end result. But I want to give credit to SmackDown, and I'm really impressed because even though we knew that was the end result, the journey they took us on was fantastic. I enjoyed AJ, winning multiple matches to be the number one contender. He earned his spot to, be in the main event of WrestleMania. He's done so many things and proven himself time and time again, beating Luke Harper, the Battle Royal, all these different steps. And for him to get taken out by Randy Orton when they shouldn't have even had that match, essentially, Orton gave up his spot. It definitely justifies his anger towards Shane McMahon. So the journey they took us on, the forethought, the foresight, all the planning, and the long-term booking that SmackDown has had is top fucking notch, and I can't, give them a better ovation.
Now, Jake, let me ask you a question. Are you looking more forward to? Honestly, are you looking more forward to AJ versus Shane McMahon than you would last year, Taker versus Shane McMahon?
Absolutely. This makes sense. Undertaker and Shane didn't really, it didn't gel well with me. I didn't understand why they were fighting. Why would Undertaker fight Vince's battles for him? Mm-hmm. He was like a hired assassin, basically. But why? No one answered why. This year, we know why. Shane made AJ jump through hoops. AJ jumped through said hoops and still didn't get the reward at the end. So therefore, all the trials and tribulations that AJ's had to go through, he worked his ass off. Last year, it made no sense. Shane wanted to take over the company and take over Raw. And if his father didn't give him that, he had some type of lockbox with hidden secrets. It was mentioned on Shane's return. So we were supposed to see this come forward, and it was never brought to fruition. It was never mentioned again. And Shane lost.
Of Macho Man and Stephanie.
And Stephanie, yeah. but we saw, Shane go ahead and still take over Raw after jumping off a cage and kicking his own ass. So the match was a null point or a moot point because it didn't matter win or lose. He still ended up, becoming the general manager.
Mm-hmm. And I can see this match being I'm actually kind of excited. I know when people were first saying that, it's AJ versus Shane. I want to see AJ in the title picture. I think we all do, but I think that we can honestly see just as good as a match as they had that Angle had with Shane if they put some stipulation with the match.
Absolutely. That was my thought. That's the match to compare it to, Kurt Angle versus Shane McMahon. That's where I picture this going. Because Shane, we know, will always put his body on the line, and we know how far he'll go. And AJ is the face that runs the place. He is truly the best person in the company right now. Hook, line, and sinker, he's got it all. And, when it comes time to put up or shut up, AJ always impresses us. No matter who he's facing, no matter what he's doing, he's always, the top dog. And I'm so thankful that he's not only in the company, but doing so well.
I don't know what happened to Dave, guys.
Awesome too.
Dave Rose was with us. For anybody who's just listening, we did about a 40-minute podcast on Shame on News a few minutes ago, and it was a glorious podcast, man. If anybody has not subscribed to Shame on News, you may enjoy it. I don't know if you'll enjoy our stuff over there, but it's going to be great for a certain amount of people that like it.
We tackled the controversial topic of today's Women's Day, National or International Women's Day, excuse me.
Well, Paste Magazine has posted why many women aren't comfortable wearing WWE's most visible women's wrestlers merch. And I'm a hugger, and it shows Bayley. And so I don't know what this is getting at, and I clicked on the link to see Paste Magazine's article. And this goes along with
do they feel like they're going to be assaulted if they wear the I'm a hugger shirt?
Probably. So it's something that promotes
fucking eat my ass with a spoon. That's bullshit.
Plenty of catching merch through Raw's Women. I spoke to Tom Green, where two young boys, Eric 5 and Noli 3, came from a traumatic background before being adopted. I mean, what does that have to do with anything? Using the logic, the hugger gimmick, its accompanying merch seems like an obvious move, but WWE obviously didn't take into account the lived experiences of many of its audiences members in approving the shirt. Green 2 says until he adopted Eric and Noli, it wouldn't have crossed his mind. Eric has developmental issues and an eagerness to bond with strangers, while Noli is more trepidatious when it comes to meeting new people at an indie wrestling show. Green explains Noli was approached and hugged against his will by a female attendee. Some people see I'm a hugger t-shirt and they'll just hug the child. Oh my God.
Wow, so they were genuinely destroyed because someone hugged them? I can understand if somebody walked over and, assaulted the child, or, somebody got a bad game of grab ass going on.
That's it, these fucking SJWs. Not only do they want to take away, people want to take away guns, which, by the way, I'm all in support of, better background checks and shit like that make sense. But not only do they want to take away all these things and
remove the loopholes from gun shows, shit like that.
Give me a safe zone. Give me a safe zone. Oh, a positive female who's a hugger. Oh, that's negative now. Like, what the fuck, dude? What else are you gonna find that's wrong with fucking people? We should have talked about this on Shame on News. Oh God, I wish Dave was here. I wish Dave was here. I'm gonna leave. Oh my God, I'll leave Dave a message.
Ridiculous.
Maybe we can get a hold of him after.
Dude, these SJWs are going after Bayley's t-shirt.
SmackDown, Tom Phillips doing
the
kids. Women's awareness.
Yeah, exactly. Face fuck me.
I think Dave's might have set his internet or reset his internet or something, because I don't know what happened to him. But dude, this lines up perfectly with what we were talking about on Shame on News, and now it's coming to the WWE. Are you fucking kidding me? I get that, like, listen, obviously some people are going to be affected by this. Maybe when you were a kid, you were raped, and your dad or whoever raped you, he always said when he was raping you, he went, yes, 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 yes. And then like, and so then years later when Daniel Bryan comes out, like, you cry and freak out and be like, you have to stop this yes movement. You don't understand. I was raped and he said yes, 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 whenever he raped me. Oh my God, stop it, stop it. It's like everything is going to eventually not connect with somebody, just like everything I say on here.
Absolutely. There's a way to trigger everybody. Everyone's, there's always going to be that one in a million that has a personal relation to a story or a storyline or a character. It's impossible not to.
Listen,
people's lives are so different that some way, shape, or form it's going to intersect and connect.
And what was one of the biggest catchphrases during the Attitude Era too? Suck it.
Yeah.
Tortillas in a bucket.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. My 8-year-old told this guy to suck it, and then he did. I mean, like, it's
and then he told him give 3 Hail Marys to confess your sins.
Dude, back in middle school, we were like telling teachers to suck it. Like, they had no idea what was going on. But even then, it's like all that stuff happened, and did anyone, did people like get hurt? Are people raped? Are people? It's like, most of the people that I knew that did that grew up normal. They just had a fun time in middle school with watching wrestling and DX and the Attitude Era and doing the suck it thing. Doing the suck it thing throughout school, while it was odd in a way when you think about it, because it would be odd for a teacher. Like, if I was a teacher and all of a sudden, it would be the same if it happened today, because at that point, kids didn't run around doing that. But all of a sudden, when wrestling came along, every kid in my middle school was running around the fucking school, suck it! Like, and like, teachers must have been like, what the fuck is going on? Like, oh my, I'm not going near these kids.
Idea at first.
Yeah, middle schoolers running around saying suck it and telling them about their poontang pie and giving the teachers the middle fingers and stuff. That was awesome.
You know what's funny about that?
Mr. Stewart, do you like
I got something. I got to tell you something. There was an assembly in 7th grade, right? Or it was 8th grade. It was 8th grade. There was an assembly. 7th grade. I don't fucking know. It was 7th or 8th grade. There was an assembly, and I'll never forget this kid, like Matt Ethan, dude. He goes up to on the stage, and he was supposed to be doing this intro to like the science thing. And the principal was like, and Matthew's got some words and stuff. And Matthew's like, I certainly do have some words. And he was like, suck it! Like, in like the whole fucking place. And the teacher's reaction was like, all right, Matt, go sit the fuck down or whatever. It was literally like, all right, Matt, sit down. He was like, if he smell Like, he was like, I mean, they did the whole thing, and you know what? The teachers like no-sold it. Basically, teachers would just be like, "All right, Chad, sit down," you know. And actually, that was great. But nowadays, it would be like a note going out to all the parents that your kid was talking about, like having everybody suck his dick. Like, it would be so overblown. Like, back then, that, like, only, this wasn't that long ago. It's like everybody talks about back then, and all the kids who are like, anybody who's like 25 years old or younger, like, they might think about this like, oh, back in the day, oh my God, way back in the day. It wasn't that long ago, you know what I mean? You only missed this by a few years, you know? This was like 1998, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002. It wasn't really that long ago. And before that, it was the same as it is right now almost. It's a little more snowball flake now, but whatever. But, dude, this shit came out, and the teachers just were like, hey, you know, settle down, Tim, you know? Fucking,
yeah, exactly. Simmer down now.
Yeah.
I think the teachers kind of knew that it was part of at least the teachers in my middle school and stuff, when we were going around saying that and we were going, woo, and all that other shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think when I said, I used to do all the time, I used to do the snap into a Slim Jim. And I even had teachers that had no idea what the fuck Slim Jims were or anything like that. And they would get more offensive about that than they would someone coming up to them and saying, oh, can I get a hell yeah? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, I think
stop blaming these people.
Well, the other thing we forget is it was mainstream at the time. Like, eventually, like, all the teachers knew who Stone Cold Steve Austin was. Like, they really, it's amazing, but they did. Maybe less of the DX stuff, but it's wild to think that, like, that's what was going on and shit. And
wasn't it a couple weeks ago, Joe? They had and you reported on it. And I thought it was great. The list of Jericho, the kid that supposedly had the murder list of the list of Jericho and stuff. And I loved how you reported on that, because that is true. That's exactly true about how today's world is you cannot get away with saying anything even remotely funny or sarcastic. You can't be like that anymore. You know what I mean? If you tell your fans, oh, hey, suck my dick, you know, you're always going to have that one person on Twitter that's going to hit you up and go, Joe, that was offensive. I can't believe I'm a fan, and you told me to suck my dick after I donate, you know, and you're just like, dude, you got to realize this is entertainment. Suck the fuck up and realize what you are doing is you're making things worse.
Yeah, I don't get why they're not like that. Jake had to leave. Jake had to go do something at 5. And I honestly don't know where Dave is. I know Dave has never been here for this podcast, but to me it's shocking. I don't know if his internet might have gone down for all we know, but man, Dave Rose was golden earlier on Shame on News. He would have been gold for this.
Yeah, I hope they didn't come around with pitchforks and stuff, you know.
The CIA might be listening.
For being racist. I'm just joking. I love you, Dave Rose.
It's just fun to, like, call him that stuff. I know he's not. He's just. I would say.
I know he's not too, but it's just so funny because I don't know. Like I said, it's the same thing we talk about over and over.
Dave
I don't know
just
how many
doesn't.
times Dave can say, "Hey, I have black friends. I have this and that."
His Uncle Bill,
because of one comment he made months ago.
Well, his Uncle Bill too is black, but no.
Uncle Bill.
I would say that he is not sensitive to. He's just not sensitive to many issues that he finds invalid, or something like that. I don't know how to explain it, but he's not. He would say he's not a bitch or something like that. But
but if his name was Ballerina Dave Rose, I would be like, okay, there's something wrong. There's something off here. You know what I mean? But his name is Devious Dave Rose.
It's devious.
So devious.
He hates everybody.
Yeah, I mean, people just need to realize that. You know what I mean? Chris Lawrence 420. You know how many people ask me all the time if I smoke?
Right.
And I have to go, are you fucking serious? Do I really have to answer this question? Oh, well, yeah, you kind of do because I'm against it or blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, why don't you just...
If anybody's against weed, they need to start getting against alcohol first, because that's been destroying people for fucking a long time.
That and painkillers have been killing the fucking... not just everybody, but since it kind of relates to wrestling, it's been killing the wrestling business for fucking years. I mean, look at all the fucking great ones. Reason why Rick Rude's not at the fucking Hall of Fame, and I love Rick Rude, but that's the reason why. The reason why you don't see all these wrestlers are dropping dead. You know what I mean? Look at RVD. RVDs came out several times and say that during the 2001, 2003 era, he'd go to his car and smoke an apple before he wrestled. Right. And that never affected his ring, or it never affected him going to the pills. So why not let it happen?
Imagine RVD like, yeah, man, we'll do this spot, and then he smokes, and then he comes in the ring like, oh, I was supposed to catch you, man. Oops. Like I'm sorry, Rob Van
Who am I
Dam.
Who am I wrestling tonight?
Yeah, who am I wrestling? What? Like, oh, whatever. Give me $1,000. It sounded like I baked a cake for you, Joe. I guess what it sounded like. But yeah, dude, I don't know fucking where this podcast was going, but I mean, we talked about the talking smack shit. We talked about that. Let me just see what else. The Bayley, the
AJ and Shane,
the SJW stuff with Bayley.
Backstage finesse.
The SJW stuff with Bayley's a joke, though. That stuff is ridiculous. Let me see who else. I'm just trying to see if there's any breaking news before I start. Oh yeah, Daniel Bryan sort of teased about his like return to the ring or something the other night. Like it was like a year and a half, which is he's insinuating when his contract ends from WWE. Does that mean Daniel Bryan's in ROH in a year and a half? You know.
That's my prediction. I think that a year and a half, he's either going to go to ROH or he's going to go to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he's gonna flourish like we all knew he would. And it's gonna whatever company he goes to, it's gonna be an automatic boost in ratings. You know what I mean?
Wow. I mean, yeah, we'll see in a year and a half. We'll see what happens. He says. I mean, Jesus. I mean, but wasn't he? The thing that gets me, that makes me think like, how could he possibly come back? Is that ESPN interview where he's like, dude, I had seizures. Like I was having seizures and I wasn't telling anybody. Like, isn't that like the word? Like, how could you want to go back and wrestle if you're having seizures? Like, I stopped playing hockey at night. I used to play 2 hours of hockey, and when I got hit in the head for the second time, after having a 7-month like post concussion syndrome and like feeling depressed and not wanting to do anything, and the head trauma, whatever it did to me, you know, the minute I got hit the second time, it all came back. Like it was all back again for like months. And I was like, that's it. I'm not going to play hockey anymore. I mean, I love hockey and I really need the exercise, and I don't know. I mean, maybe I should go back to doing it, but it's like, I don't want to get hurt. And now my kids, it's like, I just didn't want to do it again. I never got a concussion to wrestling.
A risk, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, everything is, but I don't know. It sucks for me too, because like I want to play badly, and it really makes me feel good to play. And it's like, well, what do I wait until my kids are all 20 before I go back to hockey? But then if I do that, I'll be 50 going back to ice hockey. Like, so.
Yeah. And plus, Daniel Bryan is not kind of releasing any of his day-to-day. I mean, yeah, you know, he comes out in interviews and say, oh, yeah, you know, I'm feeling better, and, you know, my cardio is doing better, and I'm starting to eat better and everything like that now. But he hasn't really even told us if those have gone away, because I at least know with my cousin, like the same situation as you, he was really messed up when it comes to basketball. He got he got a couple bad concussions from going up, trying to get the ball and falling right on his head. And then he was out like close to 8 months. And then he was having issues with seizures and stuff. But then after that, a year and a half later, like you were saying, he wasn't having those issues anymore. So he went right back to doing it. And I honestly think that Doug is probably better now than he was back then. So, I mean, it all just depends on what the WWE and Daniel Bryan, like obviously WWE is not going to release, oh, he's doing great now. We just don't want him on here because he's a flight risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if he's getting better, all it's going to do is make WWE look like more dumbasses than they already are. When he leaves in a year and a half and he goes to ROH or, New Japan or wherever the hell he goes, and he does well, and he's not having seizures, and then he's going to look. Then they're going to look stupid. But the only thing that concerns me is if he does leave and goes wrestle, and these issues keep on coming back up, then WWE is going to be the first people there to be like, "Oh, I told you so. We told you. You know, we got the best in the world, the physicians and doctors, and you know what I mean. Like they're going to be the first ones there to be like, "Hey, we told you so." And that's kind of fucked up that they do that. And they do that a lot. I mean,
hey, I wanted to tell you about
what they do with Rico. Like, look at Rico.
Oh,
I haven't heard any reports from anybody in WWE sending a message, a tweet, or nothing saying, hey, we hope that Rico gets better.
Well, Chris Jericho donated a ton of money to him.
Well, I know Jericho did, but I mean, like.
But you said anybody in WWE, so I just wanted to. You said anybody in WWE. I mean,
that's like little minor issues or whatever. But, real quick, I had someone tweet me this and ask me to ask you a question. When are you doing your when exactly is the interview with Kenny Bolin?
It's
and,
so funny that you said
Jim
that because
Cornette?
I was just thinking about plugging this right now as you said this.
Shit.
It is March 16th. We are recording it. I don't know if we're going to do it live or not, but we are recording it March 16th, and so therefore it may be up that night or the day or the morning after on Friday morning. But yeah, we're recording it on March 16th. I've gotten control of the bowling alley through the sponsors and everything that we have. So the bowling alley, I believe we'll be creating a new iTunes podcast for it. So that will be individually. The first episode, of course, it's going to be me and Kenny Bolin. So me and Kenny are hosting the show. Obviously it's Kenny's show. I'm sort of like the second guy, and then whoever our guest is. So our guest is going to be Jim Cornette first. So that's going to be a big deal. And yeah, the first episode there'll be iTunes channel for it. It'll be up on YouTube on my page. It will be pushed on the Kenny the Bowling Alley Facebook page. If anybody hasn't liked the Bowling Alley Facebook page, go to the Facebook and look up the Bowling Alley Kenny Bolin. I'm also managing the page with Kenny now too. I believe his son is going to continue doing the show the way that on their server and their podcast. So essentially, the Bowling Alley podcast that's there now will become a different name, and they're doing some different show. I'm not sure. But so Kenny's
Prince
coming
is
around.
really talented too. He's just as
great.
talented as his dad is. Man.
He's great, dude. I actually asked him to do a show with me, because we have it's no secret. I used to be more of a liberal. I used to be more of a left wing guy, and now I'm sort of more in the middle. I lean to some things on the right and some things on the left, and I kind of middle. And he is like hardcore left, and like he is like strangely hardcore left. And like him, me, and Dave Rose, I feel like would be like volatile. I mean, I feel like it would be like the most interesting thing you ever heard, because he's like for like fucking people getting hurt who are like anybody on the right who's voted for Trump like should be like fucking chopped there. Like I mean, like it's fucking crazy, dude. So he would be so polarizing. I would love to do a show with him. And maybe eventually I will. But he's also at that age where I was at that age, I was very angry at stuff too. So like I would say crazy shit, and so he's at that age. I'm not really exactly sure how old he is, but if he's 18 or older, I would love to do a show with him. But anyway, so yeah, March 16th, only a few days away, guys, and Jim Cornette will be here. And it'll be the first time I've spoken to Jim since the time I did that terrible Bret Hart impersonation for him. And
which is pretty great. I mean, that's the reason why I feel like people.
I should call the show as Bret Hart.
People want to take like separate sides when it comes to it, but in my opinion, I've liked Cornette and Russo for the longest time, so I don't have any defined moments between them. I mean, like I'm never going to be like, well, I'm not going to listen to that podcast because Cornette's on it. I'm not going to listen to that because Russo's on it. I could give two shits, but the thing I love about Cornette is he does not hold punches. I mean, he doesn't hold anything back, and he likes the interviews to be the same exact way. And what better person, if I do say so myself, than Joe Cronin and Kenny Bolin? That's going to be awesome ratings, and everybody that's listening to this needs to go out and check out his other interviews. I know Joe had one, a few of them actually, with Kenny on there, and Kenny's so fucking entertaining, and he knows his shit.
He's a hard interview because he talks so much. He's very hard because he talks so much. So, like, to get something... The best thing is when I interviewed Kenny or whatever, and then I knew he was going to be on Russo's show, and I was like, well, good luck, Russo. And I was so funny because you can see the look on Russo's face, like, trying to get a word in. But, dude, I'm not the... and I'm not the best interviewer, but I feel like I've been getting better. Like, every interview I get better at interviewing. I do better with, like, a conversation than an interview, but what I'm going to say is, wouldn't it be funny... I'm almost thinking I should do this. I should call the show when Jim Cornette's on here as Bret Hart. I should be like, wait a minute, guys. I'm sorry. We invited him to come on. I didn't think he would. He did get back to me, but I don't think he has a long time, but he said he'd come on for a second. Jim, you mind if we put on Bret Hart? And Jim be like, hell, what the fuck? Yeah, put him on, Yo, Jim, I heard you were a fucking pussy, Jim, Just come on, like, with the Bret Hart thing,
Or better yet, just have set up calls, and it's going to be everybody that he fucking can't stand. Have him, Shawn Michaels, Russo.
No, I was told,
everybody call up.
I was definitely told, like, we don't want to do not talk about Russo. So we're supposed to not talk about Russo, really. So
I get, but and with all that being said,
fuck Russo, right?
He's got so many awesome stories that we don't even have to talk about Russo. He's got so many awesome stories from Dairy Queen to the stuff that his Sprite and his obsession with fucking old school wrestling, which I mean I love that old school wrestling feel and stuff too. But there's just so much stories, and I can't wait to hear that, man. Like. And I'm not just saying that as a Joe Cronin mark. I'm just saying in general.
I mean, I might not even get a fucking
Cornette for the longest time.
Well, I might not get a word in, with Kenny and Cornette here. I mean, I may get to say 3 things, so I've got to have like really good 3 things ready to say.
All it's going to be is you going, hey, Jim, hey, Kenny, while they're going back and forth. Well, fuck you, fat ass, and then, you've never drawn it. I had to stick up for you, Jim, and then it's going to be like that. It's going to be so fucking entertaining.
That'd be great.
Because he couldn't wrestle himself out of the paper bag. That's my favorite Jim Cornette quote.
What did I say?
Bret Hart's going around telling people how much he beat people. He goes, Bret Hart couldn't wrestle himself out of a paper bag.
When I was with I was with him that day with Leah, and I was like, he was like, who's that or something like that. I was like, well, this is my wife or whatever. No, I said, I said that, yeah, I was afraid that he was going to take my wife, like, basically. I was like, yeah, I was afraid she was going to leave me for you. He goes, well, you better be scared. You couldn't get a date on a tombstone. Fucking dude had like 7 different things. Like, oh my God, I love him.
He just needs a book on Jim Cornette's quotes. That's all. I mean, and that would be a greatest fucking seller. Put that on Amazon and I would buy it.
The best thing about it is, like, this shit's just in his head. Like, you put it in a book so you could study all these things, but how is this stuff in his fucking head?
After 40 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's
and that's what's sad. Is like, I think it's the wrestling business now. The wrestling business has fucked up his mind so much that he now just don't fucking care. You know what I mean? He'll tell someone to go fuck off. You know what I mean? He'll punch somebody if he has to. You know what I mean? He'll take the mic out of someone's hand. He don't give 2 shits. If he comes on your show and you don't like the way the show's going, I guarantee you he's going to tell you and Kenny to go fuck themselves, and then he's going to run the show. Because that's just how Cornette is, and I love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm down for that too. That'd be great. But well, not really, but in a way it would be. Fuck it. He's going to be great though. March 16th. That's the day we're recording. It's going to be good shit. And that's it, man. I got to get out of here. But I appreciated Chris Lawrence for coming on. Chris Lawrence 420.
Thanks, Phil.
Are you still interviewing people on your YouTube channel? Or are you not doing that, or what's going on?
I'm about to start up again. My computer, I guess the computer that I got that I hook up to my my main computer in the living room. I guess the USB space was not big enough, so I literally had to buy a whole different hard drive to actually plug into the laptop. So I'd rather save everything on. I have one laptop that's just nothing but podcasts, nothing but your show, nothing but nothing but that kind of stuff, and that way it frees up my computer.
Yeah.
So as soon as I get that, I'll be golden, and I'll be back to doing some things.
I know your shit got stolen.
Hopefully, I'll have you come on again, and it'll be awesome, man. I really appreciate you having me on today, man.
Yeah, dude, thanks for coming. Good thing you did, because it looks like, Dave Rose went missing out of nowhere, and Jake had to go pick up a kid. So, hey, third man in was the only man in. So, thanks, Chris, at the end. And, dude, yeah, I'll drop you. I'm going to drop out of here, but, dude, yeah, thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon, all right?
All right, thanks, Joe.
All right, kisses.
Kisses.
That's how I end the show with kisses. So, guys, thank you so much. Make sure you leave a like and a comment down below. And if you haven't subscribed for the Cronin Club, what are you doing? Go to Patreon. I sound like the WWE Network. What are you doing? What are you waiting for? Patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. So many people signed up yesterday for Cronin Club, and you will get access to all the bonus videos when you pledge at least $5 a month. That will get you everything. I will be sending those videos through email of Patreon, so you'll get an alert in your email through your Patreon that, hey, Joe Cronin has posted a bonus video. So you'll get those there when you do $5 with Cronin Club. There's also other things after that if you want to go up higher, but it's patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. If you don't like that, but you want to buy videos individually that are bonus items, they'll be available on joecroninshow.net and on Selfie or whatever the fuck you call it. I don't know, Selfie, I don't know. You download the thing. I like that app, though, because you can just click on it, download it, and it's pay as you want. It's 99 cents for everything. But if you want to pay $3.99, you can. If you feel like it's worth, you want to give me something, cool. But whatever, that's the promotion at patreon.com. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast and all the other podcasts that we've been doing. I'm going to be launching a new podcast channel for this show on iTunes soon, as well as Shame on News. And we're going to be working on a Final Frontier news soon as well. I haven't heard from Dave Rose, so I don't know about that. Man, I hope he's all right. Like, I Facebooked him and everything. It's almost like someone... Oh, he said, not sure what's going on. Discord in my PC said sound was working, but it wasn't showing up. Okay, so at least he's alive. So Dave's alive. Thank you, guys. Make sure you click the red subscribe button down below and subscribe. Don't miss out on my daily videos. And we'll see you tonight for Out of Nowhere on the Joe Cronin Show, guys. Out of Nowhere tonight. Starting probably around maybe 11 p.m. Eastern time or so with JD from New York. And we'll see you live tonight.